He doesn't even want to speak with me anymore. I try to tell him that we can close back our marriage if that's what he wants, but he doesn't even want to discuss anything. He just says he wants marriage and kids with her, and that is tearing me apart. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, I, a 28-year-old female, pressured my husband into opening our marriage, and now he's divorcing me to be in a close relationship with his girlfriend. A big shout out to Eli for sending me the story. And guys, what we have here is yet another example that the whole open marriage, open relationship thing does not work. And in this story, this gal, she married her husband, and literally right after the marriage, immediately she wants to open up the marriage. No joke. She claims that she is polyamorous and all that, and after browbeating him and manipulating him, she gets to go along with it. And once again, it's to show you it absolutely does not work. And the funny thing is eventually she's going to be singing the blues and crying, looking for a lot of pity, because then he leaves her. So for all the people out there that think it's a great idea to do this, here's another example why it absolutely does not work. So, getting into this, she says, I don't know where to start. After we got married, I finally confessed to him that I'm a kind of on the polyamorous side. It took me days to convince him, and that's not just an excuse to cheat, and then he can meet other people too. Kind of polyamorous? Okay, yeah, something tells me she knew what she wanted long before she got him to put a ring on her finger and for her to say I do. But I think this is a classic, late 20s. I need to get a guy. I need to have a ring on my finger because all my girlfriends are getting married and I want to have some security. So I'll just get this poor sucker who doesn't know any better to marry me. And the second he does, bait and switch. That's what happened. I wanted us to be one of those cool couples with zero jealousy and toxicity when it comes to other people. Zero jealousy, we're talking about human beings here, human nature here. Well, I should have seen it coming. He was depressed for the first 6 months. I could see it on him, but I thought he'd be happy for me and hope he'd realize that this is something good for both of us. After that phase, he became even colder with me, and my attempts to try and get him more involved into marriage were failing. Then finally, he started seeing someone. Isn't that what open marriage is, open relationships, polyamorous? The person's going to see someone else, not just hook up with them. I know there's a little different definitions of polyamory versus open marriage, but at the end of the day, it's all the same freaking thing. I don't care what anybody says. And notice he said here for 6 months he was depressed. Probably during those 6 months, do you think she was taking care of him? No, she was taking care of Chad and Tyrone. A whole lot of Chad and Tyrone. But then guess what? He found somebody else. He found someone that wasn't going to be into this BS lifestyle. And listen to the way she describes this whole situation. She sounds like a complete and total flake. It was killing me to see him on the phone with her all the time. He then got a separate bed too. He no longer wanted to even sleep with me as his girlfriend wouldn't like it, and I felt horrible. A literal stranger was stealing my husband, and I couldn't do anything about it. Oh, boo-hoo. I wouldn't want to touch her either. Okay, you betrayed me. You betrayed us. You bait and switched me. You knew you wanted this all along. And again, it is an excuse to cheat. And are you not surprised that eventually this guy went out, found another girl, preferably someone that isn't into this lifestyle, and he's gravitating towards her? Duh. Then he'd start sleeping at her place more and more often. And now it finally happened. He brought divorce papers. Well, good for that guy. Because nobody should be in a relationship, man or woman, goes both ways, with someone that is manipulating them and persuading them to open up their marriage and have other people. Okay? It is one thing if both these people, this guy and this gal, were into this lifestyle before they got married. Okay? They met somewhere on the scene, whatever you want to call it, and they both agreed to this. Okay, that's fine. To each their own. I don't agree with that lifestyle, but at least both knew what they were getting into. No. She waited till she got him to propose, to marry her, all that. Then she sprung this on him. And sadly, because he's weak, he went along with it. She says, he doesn't even want to speak to me anymore. I wouldn't even speak to you, lady. I tried to tell him that we can close back our marriage if that's what he wants, but he doesn't want to even discuss anything. He just says he wants marriage and kids with her and is tearing me apart. What can I do to save the marriage and get back the man that I love? If I knew this would happen, I would never even bring up the idea of opening anything up. Oh, boo-hoo. Please. Here's what really was going on, guys. Guaranteed. I guarantee a lot of you guys already figured this out. She was with a guy that she thought would never, ever have anything close to the amount of numbers as she got. She figured she married some dork. Nice guy, but probably a dork that could provide, give her resources, give her a ring, and she can go play. And being a woman, and if she was above average, could get plenty of sausage. No problem there. She didn't think this guy would be easier for him to get women, let alone find someone and replace her. Well, joke's on her. And he has every right to replace her. And the situation was reversed. And a dude brought this up to his wife. It does happen. And she went along with it because she was weak. Found another dude that didn't want to live this lifestyle. I'd have no problem with that either. Now, on to some updates as things are starting to get very interesting. She says here, the next thing or title to her update was, I signed the divorce papers and will not ask for anything from my husband, just hoping that he will no longer hate me. She says, as much as I regret my decisions, I cannot go back in time now. I love that man. I wish I didn't take him for granted. I was just blinded by my excitement of new experiences that open marriage brought us. Just I'd always come back to him. While he stopped being intimate with me, and even bought separate beds, and he found his girlfriend. And he soon even moved into her place. Yeah, now she's all full of regret. And we're just getting started with the whole pity me type of thing. The world's smallest, tiniest violin playing for her. We don't have any property we got together, and I don't want anything from him in the long run either. This will be my last gift to him, and this is the least I can do to him after all I did to him. Now she realizes this. I guarantee if this dude didn't find anybody, if this guy didn't, just was depressed all the time and didn't find any replacements for her, she'd keep on doing it. She doesn't give a shit. She's now looking like an ass because her marriage is over. Now to her last update. Now listen to the complete 180 you're going to get here. She says, polyamory doesn't work unless you want a breakup. I opened my relationship and I ruined it. She says, so it's not beneficial. It won't bring you two closer together. Jealousy is normal human emotion that will always exist, and no amount of communication will make up for that. Also, lost time with your spouse while you are getting it with someone else, and that terrible anxiety and feel of loss when you find out your partner isn't here because they are with someone else. Yeah, not rocket science, lady. Humans are not polyamorous. That is why monogamy became the norm. Polyamory is just an excuse for a life full of sin. There's no true love in it, and I ruined true love because my ex-husband had over me over this nonsense. She's actually using the word nonsense. And now she's mentioning the word sin. Did she find religion in the time period since he kicked her to the curb and all that? And people wonder why more and more guys are not only walking away from marriage, walking away from relationships altogether. And this is why I do what I do, to expose these things and to help guys better themselves. So think about this. No self-respecting guy is going to go along with crap like this, like she proposed, unless he's pretty worn down, doesn't have a whole lot of options, doesn't think highly of himself. But a guy that has built himself up to be a success, do well, all that, he's not going to tolerate this. It's just guys that have become so worn down and weak and think they got nothing. They're so desperate to please their wives that the wives won't lead them. They go along with this nonsense. Well, I'm glad this guy got balls. She says, I put my ex-husband through hell, and I'm the one to take full blame for it because it's my fault. Accountability, good Lord. I am, however, relieved that he was never okay with me being with others or happy for it, and I wanted to hear the details. What do you expect? To be happy that you're getting sausage from Chad and Tyrone? Because if he was, then that would make him, I cannot type this word, and we all know that those types of people need mental help. And I hate even the idea of dating one. It'd mean I'm dating someone with no pride, self-esteem, self-worth, or confidence. I honestly believe my ex-husband did the best choice by divorcing me after all the pain he was through. Bullshit. She's just telling the audience what they want to hear. It took me a while to realize this. I just want to believe I'm not in the wrong. But as one friend told me, lay off the copium and face reality. Put yourself in his shoes. How you felt when he brought another bed is now how he felt for 6 months of depression while you were screwing around. Duh. I sent a last message to my husband through a friend saying that he can unblock me on everything because I give him my word I will not try to contact him anymore, and if he ever needs anything from me or is any kind of trouble, just let me know. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, I will leave it and just to help him out. Lady, There's a reason he blocked you on everything, because he doesn't want anything to do with you, because you're a wacko, you're a selfish a-hole. And complete 180, at least in here, compared to what she was in the beginning. You all heard the beginning, her selling him the idea of this whole nonsense and not caring at all, but now all of a sudden it's a sin and polyamory doesn't work and blah, blah, blah. He wants nothing to do with you. He could be in the gutter, desperate for food, for shelter, for anything, and he ain't going to call you. She says, also, everyone, I am done with both poly nonsense and dating for at least 2 years. I want to get my shit together, and I also will be single for at least 2 years in case he ever does contact me again. I wouldn't hold your breath. He is worth waiting for. I finally see that he is the best, and it would be unfair to date someone else while I still have feelings for my ex. I'd also probably lay off the Reddit after today. I'm going to go cry my eyes out now and then probably uninstall the app later. Also, thanks everyone for showing me the harsh reality. Police. So she says she's going to leave him alone. Never bother him again unless he... But she'll always be there for him. However, she's going to remain single for 2 whole years, not a year and a half, not a year and 15, not a year and 11 months, 2 years, hoping that she can get him back and he'll take her back in case he misses her. There's no chance in that happening, okay? All love is gone. But there you go, guys. It absolutely does not work. And yet people will still keep doing this. And it's funny, but I'm noticing more and more on mainstream media articles popping up about open relationships, open marriage. I saw this on CNBC one day. I saw this on MSN. I saw a couple other things. And the more these things pop up, the more people are going to think it's a good idea. Hey, let's give that a try. As if the divorce rate were any higher. If I'm a divorce attorney, I'm sitting there rubbing my hands together knowing all this business is going to be coming my way because all these morons trying this thing out. But people are sheep. They're just going to go along with the herd does. Now for the fun part, or the continued fun part. Some comments from people around the world. One guy says here, pro tip. Don't pressure your spouse into being okay with you sleeping with other people. It turns out that most spouses are not okay with this, and in fact often leads to said person leaving you. Imagine a husband telling his wife he wants to sleep with other women and she should be okay with it, and then being heartbroken when his wife leaves him. What an idiot. Exactly. And I try to be fair here. That, again, if a man brought this up to his wife, number one, she'd smack him in the face and probably throw a freaking dish at his head, and I wouldn't blame her. Although, well, you know what? No violence here, but you guys get my point. And if she left his ass, I wouldn't blame her at all. Same thing goes with when the gals bring these up to these good men. Now the guy says here, I gotta love the irony of her contacting him again against his wishes to promise him she won't try to contact him again against his wishes anymore. Also, her asking him to unblock her because she pinky promises she won't take advantage of being unblocked. Her mind and emotions is like a freaking roller coaster. Now the guy says, oh honey, indeed. Bless her little cotton socks for being so optimistic, but she definitely stomped that marriage into the ground and salted it for good measure. It's never growing back. It has never grown back. As long as that dude's wife, her ex-husband's, she's good to him and doesn't pull this crap, he ain't going anywhere. Now the guy says here, she was happy to watch him emotionally suffer while she was off screwing other people. It wasn't until he served her divorce papers that she kind of realized maybe this isn't working for us as a couple. Yeah, that's someone who you would want to get back with. Well, how many times have I said when men start laying down the law, it is amazing what happens with the gals. And all these stories I do, it's usually because the women start pulling all that crap because the guy's been weak. He's been a total pushover. He never checks her when she's being disrespectful or there's any kind of BS. He always just lets it go because he doesn't want to fight or argue or anything like that, or God forbid, make her mad and leave him. And then there's more BS. But when he finally lays down the law or he's done, that's when the waterworks begin. That's when they're willing to submit and do anything to get the guy. It's just if more guys understood this, we wouldn't be in a state that we're in. Now the guy says here, in the last one, he says, her takeaway was polyamory does not work. No, you idiot, polyamory doesn't work on monogamous people whose wives spring it on them almost immediately after marriage. Polyamory can work fine, but it requires the enthusiastic consent of both parents to make it work. Anything short of that will end in disaster. Well, again, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but I'm not going to force my views on anybody. But I don't agree with it in general, but if you're going to do it, you got to have both people from the get-go being into that. That's the only way it could possibly work. But I am absolutely not for at all if you're raising kids. Whether you both went into the marriage being into that, or not, if you are raising kids, kids should not be in that environment where all this people are coming and going and all that. That is completely wrong, and I will stand by that to my dying breath. But anyhow, this whole thing's a freaking mess. But as I say all the time, welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. But until you start seeing articles popping up saying the disaster, how these things don't work, you're going to have more people do this, because you get the disaster stories here on Reddit. But on actually mainstream media, this has been popping up, you don't get the disaster stories. You get people talking about people are doing it now and all this other crap. But anyhow, guys, that'll be a good one here for Saturday. Yet another moron getting kicked to the curb by her husband after she proposes this whole thing. But look what he went through to get to that point. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And, guys, you come across a good story or article or personal story like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.